Hello and welcome back. The paper is dry. You can feel it. Yeah, it's super dry, bone dry. So the next thing that we need to do is make our composition of what are we going to make a print of. Now hopefully whilst the paper was drying, you had maybe it's a good time to get some ideas. I just found this in the garden, maiden hair. So I'm going to be making a print of this maiden hair. So what I'll need is, I need my glass. This is 3mm window glass. Don't use Perspex because Perspex has got a UV coating on it. Doesn't work very well. You need a plate with a ledge. Ledge is optional, but it helps to keep the paper in place. So I put my paper where I want it, and then I am going to grab my maiden hair and I'm just going to put that on the paper like so. Then I am going to grab my glass plate and I'm going to put that on top like so. Now be careful if you've got something that's a bit more chunky and you're going to be putting your clips on the sides of the board. Be careful because sometimes the chunky branch might actually break your glass. So always give it a bit of a test and see if it gives or not. This one gives. Okay, so I'm putting this on. The glass has got two functions, of course. One to actually press down the material onto the paper. So you can imagine that anywhere the light will not be able to hit the surface because it's blocked by my maiden hair, it will stay white, and anywhere the sun can hit, this green area here, it will go blue. So I'm going to take this outside and then we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'll see you outside. Okay, outside. Just going to put it into the sun. It's a beautiful day here. It's the first day of spring in Lismore, New South Wales. The first thing you'll see once you put it outside in the UV light is that you'll see quite a rapid color change. You can see it was going from green, it's already going to some sort of kind of a more sort of a bluey kind of a color. This will go quite quickly, and then what you'll see is that it will sort of pan out. It will become, the color change will become less and less. So it goes from this bluey color into sort of a more grey color, into a brown color. Now once it's brown, it doesn't do anything else anymore. So the exposure stops when it's brown. It doesn't get any better. So one thing about the cyanotype is that you cannot overexpose it. So that's safe. So the only risk you have is underexposure. In other words, you pull your print out of the sun too early. So what that happens then, the solution just washes off because it hasn't been exposed long enough. So to leave it accidentally out for a longer time, it's not a problem. But to actually pull it out too early, you'll just kind of have to, yeah, nothing happens. You'll just rinse off the whole solution. Your picture is gone. You can see now it's taking its time. It's kind of going this kind of grey kind of color. When you're printing from negatives, you might want to be a little bit more accurate with your exposure time, or particularly the color. Observe the color very nicely. So when it's, usually when I print, when it kind of goes ash grey, which is almost now, I would actually take the print out. But I'll just let this one cook a bit longer. And it doesn't matter because it's not a negative. Of course you can imagine if we would leave this for a really long time, the sun
will penetrate the little leaves. So what will happen is the paper underneath will get exposed. So therefore it won't be as white. So it's going to be like a shade of blue. So the longer we would leave it, the less white we're going to get. I can see now it's some places it's going to sort of a more grey, sort of grey browny sort of a colour. I think I'll take it out. Well, I'll let it cook just a little bit longer. See, this is the thing, when we're at this stage now, it's kind of grey and it's going towards the brown. It's really up to you what you want to do. You're for certain you've got an exposure, you're going to get an image. Once it goes grey, between grey and brown, that's where you want to pull it. Now, for instance, if you'd have a leaf with quite a thick leaf with lots of texture in it, veins in it, if you put that on your piece of paper and you, of course, let it expose till it goes brown, the chances are that you're going to be picking up some of those veins inside the leaf. If you've taken it out earlier, you probably wouldn't. So longer exposures are sometimes good for certain things. I can see mine is kind of going really brown now. So I think it's time to take it out of the sun. So I can do this quite safely now. I can just grab this and I can just walk to my water bath, which I've got set up here. I've got 2 water baths, which I'll explain in a minute. Now if my thing is still like this, right? So what I want to do is I want to take my clips off, and then I want to get my print into the water as quickly as I can, because otherwise the pieces that were blocked are going to be exposed, so it's not going to be white. So once you get the glass off, it's in your best interest to get the paper into the water as quickly as you can. So here we go. It's kind of important to do what's known as agitation. In other words, keep that water moving. Now you can see what's going on. The white bits, or the bits that are going to be white, are still yellow. So there's still chemistry on the paper. So we need to rinse that out. But you can see it goes quite quickly. It's kind of important to make sure that you rinse out all the chemistry, because otherwise you get residual chemistry on your print. That means then it's not archival. In other words, over time that chemistry will start going brown, and you probably end up with a big hole or something in your print. So it's in your best interest to give it a really good rinse. Also, after a couple of prints, you'll see that the water starts to go a kind of bluey color. Then it's time to refresh the water. So always try and keep your water nice and fresh and clean. You can probably do about 2 or 3 prints in one bath, and then it's time to refresh. So what I'm looking for here is white. So that looks pretty white to me. Another little thing you can do to see if there's still residual chemistry on your paper is just to lift it up, and then you have a look if there's still sort of yellowy liquid dripping off. In this case there is. So I'm just going to let that rest for a bit longer. Now in this bath here, is just plain tap water. This is also just plain tap water, by the way. So it's just from, you know, from the tap. I've got tap water here, and I've got some peroxides, which fell on the ground. So this is just hydrogen peroxide, 3%. Doesn't matter what the percentage is. It just goes quicker, you have to use less. So if I put a shot of this stuff in this bath of water, just a shot, and I swish it around a little bit, you can do this. So this is an optional little trick. The results are the same. If I'm going to be hanging up this print now, right, if I'm happy with it, yes, it's rinsed well, I'm going to hang it up, and within sort of half an hour as it's drying, my blue is going to get a lot darker. Now if I'm going to be using the peroxide bath, that's going to speed up the oxidation process really quickly. So it's an optional thing, you don't have to do this. But it's good fun. Because now my print goes blue. And once it's blue like this, you can take it out and hang it up. Voila, one cyanotype. So you just simply hang it up on a line with a peg, and then you've made your first beautiful cyanotype. Look at it, beautiful detail, gorgeous. Okay, give it a go. Thanks for watching. Bye.